got green.
Yes.
It's coming.
You got green?
We
There's
have
green.
contact.
We have green.
Okay. Welcome to the Garden of the Spirit, a class studying apples from the orchard. This class meets in Long Meadow, Massachusetts, and is held in memory of Malka Ruth Bas Moshe, Margaret Vogel of blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contains selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. The Kabbalah and this class contain adult topics and require a emotionally mature attitude, which begs the question, what are we all doing here? And, but also a mature understanding and foundation in Torah. Okay, so what did we do last week? We were just discussing it. Last week it said that it compared Nadav and Avihu, the two sons of Aaron, who offered a strange fire, compares to Adam. And it says that they both committed the same type of sin. A person who is married, between him and his wife, are considered a whole person. Therefore, someone who's not married is only half a person. So Nadav plus Avihu did not get married. They equal one person. And that would be Adam. Adam was focused on self-indulgence, and it speaks about, perhaps metaphorically, that before he married Eve, Chava, he was married to Lilith, and which is the concept of a relationship that is focused on oneself, instead of on a healthy relationship, which is shared and focused on the other person. And that relationship is referred to as fire. With Lilith is considered a strange fire, which the Torah is the term the Torah uses for the offering of Nadav and Avihu. They brought a strange fire. Something that's a little connected here regarding Adam. And also, Nadav and Avihu was also self-indulgence. They were in it for themselves. Not that they were looking for, grandiose positions as the Kohanim were doing the work, but they were in it for spiritual self-indulgence. They wanted all the spirituality they can get, all the godliness they can get, and they forgot the purpose of the godliness, which is to imbue the world with the godliness. And they forgot about the world part of the equation. They just wanted total godliness. And we're not rooted, we're not grounded in the world. Regarding the tree in the Garden of Eden, from which a tree of knowledge, what kind of tree is it? We find different suggestions. The Torah says that afterwards they realized that they had no clothes. They covered themselves with fig leaves. They tied together the fig leaves. So we understand from there that that it was figs. The forbidden fruit was figs. In the punishment, God says that by the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread. So we understand that could be a suggestion that it was wheat. And another place mentions esrog. And in the Zohar it says that that they were getting ready for Shabbos. And there's a mitzvah to taste the food before Shabbos to make sure that it's suitable, that it's good. And so they took the tree was a grapevine, and they were making wine to be able to make kiddush on Shabbos when it would have been permitted. And he tasted it to see if it was okay, and that was the problem. So those are a few different opinions of what kind of tree it was. Similarly, regarding the sin of Nadav and Avihu, so again, afterwards, Hashem says, don't drink wine and don't let your hair grow long. So from there we see that, I'm sorry, don't drink wine. From there we see that they were, it would imply that their mistake was that they drank wine. There was a great celebration that day. There was the grand opening. Everyone was excited. No doubt the people said l'chaim, and they should not have said. The other opinions are that they did not want to marry and have children, did not want to start a family. From the, I think we have a few more that are mentioned here. It says that they ruled, they made a ruling in halacha while Moshe and was nearby, and while they should have deferred to him, they had no right to give a ruling. The Torah says, now that all said, the Torah says that they offered a strange fire. Mm-hmm. In Hasidus, and what we're saying here is that the fire is enthusiasm, and they were all excited about the godliness, and they were not grounded, and they were so caught up in the holiness of the moment, and the excitement, and in the godliness, that they were overwhelmed with godliness, and did not care to ground themselves in the world and keep both feet on the ground. And so they died in ecstasy, the ecstasy of spirituality, of divine energy. Now, but the Torah, and this would also be a strange fire, the enthusiasm that is missing the grounding. But it also said, but from the Torah, the simple meaning in Torah, it says that they brought a strange fire, would imply that they were there to burn the Ketores. They were supposed to wait for directions from Moshe. And they went ahead and did on their own. When they set up the Mishkan during the week before, the Torah says that they did it just like Moshe said, just like Moshe said, just like Moshe said, 19 times in the Parsha. It says they did everything just like Moshe said. And here it would be that it would appear that they did it without Moshe telling them to do. So that is what it just seems from reading the Psukim in the Torah. Okay, so from that, so here it combines them and combines these different ideas. We're at 602. Okay. Yeah, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. They also sinned.
They also sinned by offering sacrifices while drunk. Immediately after their death, Hashem commanded Aaron not to enter the sanctuary precincts while drunk. This, our sages state, alludes to the fact that his two sons died because they were performing the sanctuary service while drunk. Adam sinned this way also, for, as our sages say, Eve squeezed grapes and gave him the juice to drink together with its dregs. The juice and its dregs were the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The primordial sin, partaking of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, is seen in the eyes of our sages not as one specific act, but a conglomerate of several. The common denominator of these is the aggrandizement of the ego, the transformation of man from pure channel of the divinity into the world into a self-oriented agent with its own egocentric agenda. There are four opinions as to what the tree of knowledge of good and evil was. Interestingly, there is no opinion that it was an apple, although the Garden of Eden is spoken as being an apple orchard. According to one opinion, it was a vine, and Eve squeezed the wine out of the grapes to give to Adam. The dregs of the wine are the elements of ego within the experience of ecstasy, which poison the experience and make it self-serving.
So this means that the wine is the good, and the dregs are the evil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying? Is that what it's saying?
Yeah.
Oh, the dregs are the ego.
Yeah.
the ego.
Yeah. The tree of knowledge of good and evil is the admixture of pure experience with that of ego. In everything he does, man may choose either to seek his own pure experience,
Skip the
No, you said line.
his own self-gratification or selfless dedication to elevate in the world. By choosing self-gratification, man increases the opaqueness
Opaqueness, yeah.
of the world to godliness. By choosing pure experience, he renders reality more transparent, revealing more of its innate divinity.
What does that mean, pure experience? He mentions it a few times here.
Physical experience, not sentiment or
No, he's choosing experience for the sake of,
ego.
not for ego. Self-gratification increases opaqueness, which is cloudiness. Pure experience is choosing
other way
for otherness, not for himself, and to be a channel of divinity. And he renders reality more transparent. We have transparent clothes, et cetera, that Adam and
So
Eve
pure
did.
experience
Clear
is to do
wine.
it the right way.
What he
Clarity.
says is that the first sentence in the paragraph, it says combining ego with experience of ecstasy. So we're talking about wine, and wine has the dregs in it. So the dregs are ego. The
wine
the
is
liquid-
okay. The wine is good.
the broth or the liquid is the experience of ecstasy, which is a good thing, of godliness, divine ecstasy. And by
Man can either seek his own self-gratification or selfless dedication to elevating the world.
and the wine that has the dregs in it is cloudy,
It's cloudy, opaque.
murky, and by removing the dregs, you're leaving the ego out of it, and you're only going for the godly experience of godliness. That's what it means, pure, as in pure wine. Okay,
He just
let's go ahead
All right.
to Jim.
So he chose not to drink the good wine, which has no dregs, and gladdens Hashem and man. That's from
That-
Judges and Proverbs.
Ed is from, what does Elysian mean? Combination?
Elysian,
I guess.
Professor?
Never.
There's
E Elision.
It's a mixture, or blending, or
blending probably. There is a fascinating story in Judges, Book of Shoftim. There was
Elision.
The omission of a sound or syllable when speaking. An omission of a passage in a book, speech, or film. The process of joining together or
Joining together,
merging
very good.
things,
Yeah, that's the
especially
combination.
abstract ideas.
That's a combination, all right.
okay. I think it. Okay, then over there in Judges it says there was a person who killed out Avimelech killed out 69 of his brothers in order to take the sole leadership of the Jewish people. They appointed him over Shechem, and one brother escaped, Yosam, and he climbed a mountain nearby so that they can hear him. And he gave them a story how they asked all the trees asked the olive tree to be its ruler, and it refused. And they asked, I forget the other tree, the fig tree. And it says they came to the grape, to the vine, and they said, and when the vine said, "Why would I stop producing my fruit, which gladdens God and man, and go shake my branches at the other trees?" They all say that. Why would I stop my producing and go shake my branches at the other trees? So that was, and so he finishes off Yosam. If people of Shechem, if you indeed act out of pure motivations to choose my brother as your ruler, then you guys should all live happily ever after. But if not, he said, let the fire come out from you and consume him, let the fire come from him and consume you, and you guys will all sink together. And it lasted 3 years before the whole thing blew up in their faces. Okay.
This wine is spoken of as gladdening Hashem, for the name here used for Hashem, no, for God, Elohim, signifies severe judgment. And drinking good wine transforms Elohim, severe judgment, into gladness. The other impure wine is called a cup of wine fully mixed. The wicked ones of the world will drink and suck its dregs.
Where's that?
Psalms.
75:9.
Don't remember.
Do you remember that one?
75:9. So the mixed wicked drink, suck its dregs. 75:9. Choosing to relate to reality not through the clouded lens of ego renders the world more fit to receive divine blessing. It thus figuratively transforms God's attribute of judgment and limitation to that of benevolence and happiness.
So, did we have before? There are two kinds of wine.
Yeah.
Do we have it here?
No, I don't know.
I had it somewhere else. It's in Inshallah a few weeks ago. I think. And it speaks of two kinds of wine. One with dregs
The one without.
The
and
one
one
without.
without dregs. Yeah.
So, Adam sinned additionally in wanting to draw all the nation under the wings of the divine presence. Whoa. This caused all the suffering that befell him and has befallen us throughout our exile. Phew. Moses also erred this way, and therefore had to die in the desert. King Solomon also erred by encouraging conversion.
With Moshe, we had a whole big,
We
a
went
few
through
weeks on that,
yeah.
that he accepted
The mixed multitude.
the mixed multitude, or the mixed multitude.
The mixed multitude.
And King Solomon certainly, according to the Rambam, he converted his wives, but not through official channels. But he got a few people together, and they did the conversion.
Were there official channels then?
Official channels would have been the best in. But the court had a policy at that time not to accept converts because they were worried that people just wanted to, because times were good in Israel then. So he bypassed the official channels. And then you see that the wives continued in the same path that they had before. They didn't leave their idols. We find conflicting commentary perspectives on converts. Some places it says the Jewish people, the only reason we went into exile was to pick up the converts that needed to join. And others says that they caused converts caused problems, and they're both true. It's not a monolithic group. They have, unfortunately, you have people who convert and don't stick with it.
Yeah.
You have,
Some do,
and
some
but when
don't.
I say stick with it, I mean, observing Shabbos and the others, the other.
Some
and the
do,
mitzvahs.
some do, some don't.
Yes, yes, and then you have other people, some of our greatest leaders who were converts, and fully committed, and reached positions of leadership,
Or who came from converts.
such as
David HaMelech.
David HaMelech.
Yes, and Rabbi Akiva,
Rabbi
Akiva.
Shmaya and Avtalion, who were two
Yeah.
sages before Rabbi Akiva.
Sophono.
Hmm?
Sophono, I think. Sophono.
Sforno?
Sforno.
Sforno?
Unclus.
Unclus.
Onkelos.
Onkelos.
Thank you.
Greek,
Onkelos.
yes.
Ovadia,
Avadia,
Hanavi.
Hanavi, the prophet.
But there's a number. Some stuck with it, some did
But-
not.
Avram ben Avram. Famous story.
I had two mixed problems today of Jewish people marrying non-Jewish people and getting divorced. Two of them today. It's still a big mistake. Huge mistake. Two,
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, so they,
Not one, but two.
and then you have people, unfortunately today, who are,
Bird and a fish can be in love, but where are they gonna live?
Yeah, where are they gonna be? Yeah.
who are converted.
This isn't
And,
even to the
And
so-called
you
conversion.
wonder what they're, how much they're told,
And
which is, right at the start.
Yeah.
and the children born of these mixtures, it's horrible to them, what they have to go and experience. It's horrible.
Yeah, well, many divorces are horrible, you know that.
I know that, but you know, it's just,
No, the couple, it's their, the responsibility, but the children, why they have to pay?
they get,
That's the problem. I mean, the couple, I don't care.
they themselves
Oh, they were in love.
have
But think about the
have
children.
trouble when their own parents, when particularly their father, in one of the cases, makes believe that he is that they're. That in the decree, it says they celebrate Christian holidays with their mother and Jewish holidays with their father. It's a terrible decree.
They're not even
Judgment.
Jewish then.
They're not Jewish, and this decree has that because they entered into it. It was
I
horrible.
mean, decree or contract? Or?
No, it's a judgment from the court.
All right,
I don't want to get into it. It's just bad. It's bad stuff.
that is a mixed multitude.
Mixed multitude.
Okay, so,
As long as they don't make an egoless, they're all set.
Oh, gosh. Well, I don't know.
okay, so this is Adam's sin. Adam did this
It
first.
says Adam, that's what I was wondering. It says here, Adam sinned by wanting to draw all the nations under the wings of the divine presence.
I don't know where that's
Where,
from.
where is
do we
that,
have
what's
a
the reference?
evidence?
Maybe I don't know.
To
Not that I
that.
know of. Go ahead,
All right.
and maybe it explains it, maybe
in here.
not.
As we've explained previously, the psychology and innate orientation of the non-Jew is that of sustaining and perfecting the functioning of the world. This is their role in the big picture in making the world into a home for Hashem. The problem is that they too suffered a fall in the wake of the primordial sin, and this altruistic drive is manifest in most people as the drive for more material and comfortable standards of living. Adam, Moshe, and King Solomon all erred in thinking that if non-Jews were converted to Judaism, the Jewish drive for spirituality would combine with the non-Jewish drive for physical perfection. This would, they thought, have the double effect of objectifying the Jewish spiritual drive, keeping it from degenerating into egocentric ecstasy, and spiritualizing the non-Jewish physical drive, keeping it from degenerating into egocentric materialism. However, they each erred in their own way, not realizing that for this to work, the non-Jew must initiate the process by himself.
The first
Yeah.
Oh,
Bleeding
jeez.
hearts.
Bleeding heart. I had that case all morning. It was terrible.
Okay, so now, here we're gonna get into a few plays on words. 6:04.
Go ahead, Alan.
Alan, go ahead.
Let us return now to our original discussion. As we said, Adam sinned with his strange fire and by drinking the wine with the dregs. These dregs were personified by the fallen non-Jews who sought to cling to him. As we said, the non-Jewish psyche suffered a fall with the primordial sin as well, becoming overtly egocentric. In this state, they are symbolized by the dregs of egocentricity that spoil the wine of pure experience, as well as by Lilith, the demon of egocentric sexual thrill. Nadav and Avihu were also drunk. These two sins, strange fire and inebriation, are alluded to in the first verse of this Torah reading. The initials of the words for after the death of the two, Achrei Mos Shnei, which is Aleph Mem Shin, may be rearranged to spell from fire. Meish, Mem Aleph, Meish, Mem Aleph Shin.
If you want to see it, it's on the first line in the middle. There's an apostrophe next to the aleph, the mem, and the shin. Acharei Mos Shnei is Meish. That means the sin of the fire.
Yeah. The final letters of the three words, the two sons of Aaron, Shnei b'nei Aaron, Yud Yud Nun, spell wine, yayin.
And that's on the line, the last three words on the left. Yud Yud Nun, the final letters.
If the two words, death of the two, Moshe, are read backwards, Yud Nun Shin Tav Vav Mem, they contain the word for they drank, Shatu Shin Tav Vav.
If you look on the Hebrews on the second line,
This verse alludes to
I-
both sins.
yeah, this third and fourth words. Do you see Mos Shnei? The third and fourth word on the second line.
Yeah.
If the first letter of the fourth word, Shnei, the Shin, reading backwards into the third word is Shin Tav Vav.
Yeah, which is-
Shatu,
yeah.
they drank. How you like that? That's what you were talking about today.
Number nine.
What?
You played backward. Paul is dead.
The Beatles song.
Over my head.
It's
The Beatles
it's
song.
a Beatles song.
I was sleeping that day.
Number nine.
Number
nine. Number nine.
Like little Esther played yesterday.
Okay.
All right.
She played her CD backwards.
It's recorded. I guess they record.
You can find everything on YouTube. So they, no, that's what you're talking about, the
No, we're reading backwards. That's why.
arbitrary. Yes. Okay.
And the conversion remind me of who's this Henry VIII that created a new religion because to marry Mary Stuart, the other one.
Protestantism.
There you go. Just
Well-
because men are so weak because of the Lilith business. You want that woman? Let's make another religion. Screw that.
Well, it's the same religion.
wanted to
It's
screw it,
just-
that's
it's-
it.
It's the
We're on
same-
air, guys.
It's the same religion. It was the same religion. It was just who's in charge. With
Who's
Henry-
up first?
Who's in charge with Henry VIII? Henry VIII didn't want to relate to the Pope, and the Pope was holding him up for divorce. So he wanted his own divorce so that he could be with.
So created his own church,
So he
With who?
created his
own
own church.
Church of England.
It's the same
So
as
that's where the
Solomon.
Church of England
Yes, I
started.
know.
I don't know what churches.
So I guess Solomon was weak too.
Yeah.
No.
No,
He
we don't
threw
say
out
that.
Jews, they
had-
expelled Jews during that time period too, I think.
500 years they were out of,
500 years out of England.
Out of England?
Yeah, there was an
From when to when?
expulsion of Jews.
1200 to
In
1700.
1200, right?
12,
There are no Jews till 1700?
I think it was,
They all went to Spain.
I thought it was 400 years, but it was a whole long time.
Lasted well there.
Who, Cromwell brought them back?
1700?
No? I don't
They
know.
left Spain.
Don't know my history.
I don't know who brought them back.
Spain got rid of them.
Cromwell, I think, yeah,
I
one
know
of the
Spain did
non-monarchical people in England brought them back.
I think
Oliver Cromwell.
there was something in massacre in York.
York.
And
York, there
till
was a
this
terrible
day,
massacre.
no Jew stays
No Jew-
overnight in York.
No Jew could go in York.
By law, by
No,
superstition,
by Jewish
decree.
acceptance.
Yeah, we don't go.
I don't know who
York,
decided
there was
that.
a terrible massacre. I thought it was 14, but it may have been 12 something. There was a terrible massacre in York.
Ask Rabbi Wolf, he should have learn that.
Well, I
maybe.
All right.
There's, okay.
Okay.
Where are we?
You want to continue, Alan?
It follows that they attempted to rectify the sin of Adam, but they instead made the same mistake as he and therefore died. They were each half of Adam's body, so to speak, and they effectively died two deaths, their own and his again. This too was alluded to in the verse. After the death of the two sons of Aaron, this refers to their death in their present incarnation, when they approached Hashem, that is, formerly, and they died in the time of Adam.
It says twice that they
Yeah.
died. Okay.
This is also why Moshe comforted Aaron by saying that Nadav and Avihu were greater than either of them, for they were incarnations of the father Adam, while Moshe and Aaron were the incarnations of Aval, Adam's son.
Wow. I never heard that before.
We had it.
Yeah, we
We
had
had
it here
that.
Well,
first.
we had Aaron. Aaron
We had
was the-
Aaron as
right.
an incarnation,
But not bo-
incarnation of Abel. Well, we
Not
never,
both
I
of them.
never saw that
We had-
Nadav and Avihu as being incarnations of Adam.
Because of her
Well,
health.
yeah, we had it this
Did we?
week. We had Moshe also being the incarnation
Moshe
of
is also novel.
Havel.
Yeah, Almo.
We did speak about that.
That we had.
Was Aaron
But
married?
why they were
Yes,
greater,
to Elisheva.
I could never understand that.
Oh, yeah, he has the kids.
He had kids, kind of hard to be
There's
married.
our
He
Torah
got married?
lesson.
No.
Their failure.
We don't have things-
His failure
Was
was
he
that
married?
they gave up all
these
earthly
days.
delights.
Not that- not-
Completely focused on Hashem.
Yeah, the Ratsu,
They wanted to be,
Ratsu, Ratsu, Ratsu,
they
no
wanted to be in
shoe.
the astral plane
Ratsu, no shoe.
in this world.
Yeah.
And that's not
Yeah,
what
no, I
Hashem
got
wants. Hashem wants you to be in both worlds, but not completely up there.
Too much Ratsu, not enough shoe.
Exactly.
The kids in school today, I stepped into a class, they were learning about they had been learning about the Puritans. And they were very upset with them, with their theories, their ideas, ideology. So the kids had to make a village, and laws for their village. The rules were that you have to smile, no Puritans allowed here. Yeah.
Oh.
Interesting.
That idea of not having any enjoyment, any pleasure, downplaying it.
Another misconception,
Yeah.
like celebrate, celibate.
Yes. Yeah, but a
Ascetic.
totally wrong outlook, or what's the word?
Skewed.
Skewed outlook
Twisted.
on the physical world
Twisted, yeah.
and the purpose of the physical world,
It's,
and seeing that enjoyment and pleasure
Same.
can be godly. It could be holy
yeah.
and godly.
Just have a life without sugar.
They saw it as evil.
Yeah. Someone
What
took my
was
trivia
Puritans thought, in the Old Testament, what they thought of Moshe and with all the plagues?
Begatting?
No, with all the plagues, they reviewed it as witches and warlocks. They,
I don't know.
You know,
I
just-
don't know. I remember, the only thing I remember is Inherit the Wind with, which is about,
Salem, what?
no,
No.
there's not the Salem witchcraft.
No.
Inherit the Wind was about the trial of the Scopes monkey.
Oh, yeah.
guy,
Scopes monkey trial,
Skunky-
yeah.
Scopes monkey guy. So William Jennings Bryant
Bryant.
was the prosecutor, and Clarence Darrow, the
was-
attorney, was the defense attorney, and so I remember Clarence Darrow in Inherit the Wind when they were beating the Bible. The Protestant. And he said, well, what about all the begatting and the begatting and the begatting and the begatting? You forgot about that part. So, it
Just read about scopes, something else about it this week.
I remember, just remember that little scene, because anything pleasurable or that which could be good and holy was evil, which was,
But the wine, and that's what we just learned, wine which gladdens the heart.
gladdens the heart
of God
of
and man.
Hashem and man. And if you sit in the
As long as you don't
dregs
have
of
the
it,
dregs, yeah.
you're it's different.
You're in the dregs.
You're in the dregs.
All right?
All right.
Okay. Where do you want to hit the, should end it? Right where it was. The top one.